Can You Relate with Kathy Dawson is presented by CK Media Productions.
Hi everyone, I'm Kathy Dawson. Welcome to Can You Relate, Cleveland's relationship show. This show is actually designed for you. If you're human, and I'm guessing you are, you have all kinds of relationships, no matter what they are, whether it's with children or spouse or in-laws or friends. This show is designed for you. We have a lot going on today. First though, I want to talk about a special event that John Roberts Spa has come up with for the holidays. I think this is a terrific idea. You're just about to start the holidays, you're stressed, you're worried, you got a lot to do. This Monday on November 8th, at their Mayfield Heights location, they are going to have an event where you can go and get some mini services done. They're going to have people talking about how you can take care of your face, your hair, your nails. I really love this idea. The best thing about it, though, is they're going to have the melting pot. They're going to have a chocolate fondue display. I'd be there just for that. Now, if you would like a free giveaway on our Facebook or Twitter, if you go to that, John Roberts Spa is giving away a 30-minute facial, or they're giving away a haircut. So make sure you go to Twitter or Facebook and you might win that. Now, today's show we have a huge lineup, but we're going to start out by talking about, you're a grown-up, right? You got a lot of stuff going on. You're married, you have a house, you have kids. How do you take care of all that? So come with me and we'll talk to someone who can help you with that. Responsibility. You're going to have it. When you're grown up and you get married, you automatically, you either have an apartment or you have a house, and then down the line you have kids. Figuring out how to take care of all that is really important. We've got Craig Lindell here with Lindell Insurance to help us out with that. Welcome to the show. It's good to see you back. So tell me about that. I mean, you deal with people all the time who have all these things that they're thrilled about, but they've got to take care of.
Well, as you know, as a relationship expert, you meet these people and their relationships are stressful enough between their house and their car and their kids and their bills and everything else. And then on top of that, the insurance industry spends over $12 billion a year advertising and mixing the message and telling them to think about cost and service, and, you know, how do you make sense of it all?
Yeah, especially when things happen in life where, and we talked about this earlier, you know, life is humming along and then all of a sudden, boom, you lose your house to a fire, which by the way we did, okay? Right. Or boom, you have a car accident. Yeah,
you know, I end up talking to tons of people on the worst day of their lives, and people don't really want to think about that when they're buying insurance. And so, you know, I think working with somebody in order to get all the things laid out, make the decisions, you know, should I be saving cost on this? Should I be buying coverage on this? They don't want to think about that by themselves.
No, and actually that's a good point, because when we buy insurance, you can get a special cost package based on what you, I never did understand that. So how do you lay that out?
Well, in a lot of companies, they have the advertising out there and they want to make it seem like you're going to the supermarket and you're buying this and that and you're putting it in the cart. And it's you know, I'd like to think it's a little more complex than that. You know, if you forget the eggs, you can always go back to the supermarket. After a car accident, you can't go back and buy more coverage. So you kind of have to get it right the first time.
You do. Now, are there certain points in a person's life that you recommend that they get certain kinds of coverage?
Well, obviously the key, you know, when you're single and you're on your own, a lot of people like to just call that 800 number, make their own decision. They understand their life. It's pretty simple. But, you know, once you start adding in the kids, let alone a kid who's about to turn 16, everything gets more complicated. You buy a third car. Should you carry an umbrella policy? All these other things. Okay,
could we stop there for a second? Would you explain the umbrella policy? Because I don't really, I've had a hard time with
that. On a home policy and an auto policy, there's some liability in case you get sued or something like that. And now an umbrella is an additional liability policy that sits on top of it all, an extra layer of protection.
Okay. Now, what if you have a business out of your home? Do you recommend that then you get that kind of?
Well, that's a whole different you know, bag. You can do that a number of different ways.
Okay.
And so
no matter what you're doing in life, as you accumulate things, you have to insure them. I mean, seriously, when you think about not insuring them, it's really scary.
Well, and how stressed do the couples you see on a daily basis seem? You know, should they try and de-stress their life by working with somebody, or should they try and be an insurance expert on top of all their other responsibilities?
No, you're absolutely right. Mm-hmm. Well, I'm sure if you're watching, you have some kind of responsibility in your life. Trust me, we lost our house to a fire. You want to make sure you're covered. Craig can help you with that. You can get a hold of Craig by calling him at Lindell Insurance at 440-247-3750, or you can log on to lindellinsurance.com. As always, you're very helpful. Thanks you.
Very much.
Nice to have you.
Up next, can you relate to ghosts? We'll meet a psychic who says hauntings can affect your life. And later in the show, a chronic disease can impact the health of your relationships. We'll talk prevention in just a bit.
Craig and Mark Lindell and Grange Insurance understand that life is a series of brushstrokes, large and small. Moments from the everyday to the extraordinary. As you move through your world, let Grange Insurance and Lindell Insurance put the finishing touches on an insurance plan to meet your needs. Having Lindell Insurance and Grange handle your insurance while you stay in the moment. Now that's a stroke of genius.
So, tomorrow is Halloween. Can you relate to ghosts? Yeah. We have somebody here I'm really happy to talk to. Sonia Horstman is the owner of Cleveland Haunted Tours. Welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Now, you're here because we're going to talk about spirits and ghosts. I got to tell you, I've loved doing this my whole life. I could have you on for half an hour.
Yeah, it's my business.
So tell me, do you speak? You actually speak or feel, or how does that work?
Ever since I was young, I realized I was able to see spirits and communicate with them like other people could not. And as I got older, I began to understand it, and there was less fear. And so now I help people with their ghost problems.
All right. So you've heard this, I'm sure. You talk to dead people?
Yes.
Like that movie? Okay.
I do.
You do. Now, I have never seen a spirit. However, I saw someone who saw a spirit. My father, he went white. He said, "Oh my gosh, did you see that?" And I said, "What?" And he said, "I just saw a white filmy thing whoosh by and go into the laundry room." Yeah. I mean, he looked like he was going to pass out.
Yeah,
so did he see a spirit? You think
I think some people can see them and some people can sense them. Other people get other sensations such as the cobwebby feeling, or they'll feel kicked in the gut, or they just have that sense of creepiness. Where some people like me can actually see them with their eyes.
Wow. You know how sometimes you get that kind of tingly feeling up your spine? Is that part of that? Goosebumps.
Goosebumps was an original term that they used where they said when a goose walked across your grave, you got the goosebumps.
Oh, interesting. So I never knew that.
So the goosebumps could be a sign of there's a presence around you, and you just tune into that. You feel it, and you don't be afraid of it. You just...
That's what my next question was. Should we be afraid?
No, no. And people think that maybe demons would be a problem. Demons bother world leaders like Hitler or Stalin. They're not bothering little people like us.
Okay.
But a ghost can attach themselves to somebody and become very attracted to someone and follow them around.
And why does that happen?
Maybe they're interesting, or you know, they have an attraction to them, or an interesting, or maybe perhaps the ghost knows that they can see them or feel them, and so the ghost wants to give a message, or I need help. And that's a lot of times what they want to do, is they want to give a message. They're trying to get your attention.
All right.
So they're not going to bother people who can't see them.
I see. So I always hear that ghosts are around because they're stuck.
Yes.
Is that true?
Yes, they're in this earthbound dimension where we are. When you die, you have the choice to cross over or not. And if you cross over into the safety of the light, you're met by your grandparents and grandmothers and mothers. If you choose not to, you're stuck here in this place where we are. And you have a hard time finding another light. And so a light worker is someone who helps those find the light.
Okay.
So that's my That's my responsibility. I'm not just a ghost hunter. I'm what you call a banisher. I'm here to help educate people about spirits and how to help them when they have a problem in their home and it's scaring them.
Do you see that a lot where people have it in their home?
They get scared from it because if they can't see them, a ghost will then try to move things, or it's scary when something is picked up and moved, or
like the Exorcist kind of thing. Right.
Well, that was an extreme movie. That was.
Yeah, yes, that was. I was 18. I remember that.
Yeah, that scared me too.
You give tours around Cleveland, especially this time of year.
Yes, and it's hauntedclevelandtours.com is the website. And I take people around to places where ghosts are still being reported. We go to theaters and places where the torso murderer dropped bodies. And, and we visit old houses and mansions places where people are still seeing spirits. So if you go on a tour with me, you might see something.
Have you ever had anybody like freak out and pass out and, you know, like, oh my gosh, there's a ghost? And just...
I've had people run the other way.
That'd be me.
Yeah, we actually saw ghosts last Wednesday in the Medina County Cemetery. And people were looking at it, and some of the people could see it and the other people could not.
Oh my
And it was very interesting. So I separated all the witnesses and said, tell me what you saw, tell me what you saw.
Wow.
And we believe it was the ghost of George Sillett, who was the gentleman who dug all the graves in the graveyard and took care of the church.
This is so interesting. You know, perfect time of year. If you think you want to go on something like a tour, you want to get a hold of Sonia, and like you said, your website is hauntedclevelandtours.com, and you've got limited seating for something coming up on the 5th and the 6th, right?
Yes, certainly Halloween I'm booking a lot, but I do have extra seats on the 5th, and I'm also doing a charity for the First Step Family Violence in Coshocton on Saturday, November 6th.
Okay, great. And you have to be 13 years and older to go on these tours.
Yeah, it's too scary for the little kids.
This
is the real thing.
It's scary for me. So thank you so much
nice
for
to
being
meet you.
here.
Thanks
Happy
for
Halloween.
having me.
Stay tuned because Rate Your Relationship is up next.
Conflict is a part of everyday life. When someone does something that bothers you, do you discuss the problem with the person by phone? Send the person an email or text? Tell someone else what is bothering you and hope it gets back to the person with whom you have a problem? Or talk to the person directly face to face? Got your answer? Let's see if Coach Kathy agrees.
Now, if you answered D to this question, good for you, pat yourself on the back. You were able to talk to someone face to face. You know, a lot of people don't like doing this. They will run, it's like somebody's got the plague, all right? So it's really important that when there's a problem in a relationship that you step up to the plate, that you do talk one-on-one to someone. And believe me, it's like lifting the rug and getting it out from under the rug, because if you keep the issue under the rug, it becomes a fungus and it grows and it just hurts you and it hurts your relationship. So if you think you want to take these surveys, you can just go to CanYouRelateTV.com and the survey's right there for you or anyone else you know. So stay tuned, we're coming up next.
Just ahead, we'll help you avoid being sick and tired of your relationships when you have a chronic illness. And later, so many emotions can arise when you receive an inheritance. We'll advise you on how to avoid regret being one of